Good evening, Kitty Q. How are you doing today? I hope you're having a wonderful day today. Good evening, Bamacat. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Cross our fingers that everything is working. Yeah, please hit the thumbs up if you like the trivia night. Hit thumbs down if you don't. It counts as an interaction as far as YouTube is concerned. They don't really care either way about a lot of things, but people are like they're dead set on believing that they really care. They want to see that it's an interaction, that people are actually watching it, so they look at the duration of how long somebody watches something. Then they look at how might, and when they suggest it out, how many people click on it then, and only then third or fourth down the line is, do people like it or do they not like it? I'm not, fortunately, I'm having an in law issue. So, we all please keep them in your thoughts. All right. I'm sorry that you're not having a good evening. Hope everything with the in law issue works out for the best. Callie Lisa. Good evening, Callie Lisa. Welcome to tonight's trivia. All the questions tonight are on doctors who have killed their patients purposefully. They committed homicides. These are not accidental malpractice doctors. These are doctors who had no mercy and went after and killed their patients. They purposely killed their patients. All tongue tied. Juicy Jules. Good evening, Juicy Jules, and welcome to tonight's trivia. Trivia, yes. 20 multiple choice questions all displayed on the screen if you haven't been here tonight, or been here for a trivia night before. And then after trivia, I have one or, sometimes up to three cases of people who are missing. These are people who are been reported missing by either their family or loved ones, but they're real missing people from across the United States. But I always have at least one, sometimes up to three. But we are only playing for fun and entertainment for the trivia night. No one is any better at this. Use it, Google, phone a friend, ask the person sitting on the couch in the other room if they know the answer. It doesn't matter. It's not cheating unless you consider it cheating. I don't consider any of it cheating. Use whatever means you have, to you to come up with the answer. Answer either A, B, C, D, or answer E, and make your own answer. If you don't know it. Well, you have two live inner P's. The other one, for some reason, it duplicated it. I have no idea why. I tried to close it out. I saw that when I went to go log in. I was like, why are there two? So when I clicked on it to go live, it went live. I'm like, what's this? I tried closing it. I'll try to go back and see if I can cancel it again in YouTube Studio. I don't know why I did that though. That was definitely bizarre. Yeah. Um, how do I cancel this one? Because I'm using OBS software. I'm streaming to YouTube. Um, let's see if I connect there. Uh, huh. That's odd. There's not an option to delete there. I put a check mark in the box. Turn off monetization. Okay. How do I cancel it? I can make it private. It won't let me delete it because it says the second one is still going. So I made it private in case anybody's on there. It doesn't say anybody's in the actual live stream itself. Pippadot, I'm here, Interpeas. Just told me. All right. Well, thank you, Interpeas. Yeah, I don't know why it did that. It just started two of them all at the same time. When I clicked on the word live, it made two duplicate. It made a duplicate of the whole thing. I don't know. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I usually give it 5 minutes to start the stream, for people to get in the room. So we're here. We might as well get started. All right, full screen. Right now on your screen, you should see True Crime Trivia episode 320. That is not correct. This is actually the 322nd. But that is what you should see on your screen right now. Do you see that? I am asking because of the technical issues I've had over the last week. And good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia, Savannah Cox. Pigeon Mac. Good evening, Pigeon Mac. Okay, good. I'm glad that you see it. That means that the OBS software and everything is working. So let's go on to the next one. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Some of the content covered here or seen on the stream may not be suitable for all ages. I have restricted access to 16 years of age plus on all platforms. In accordance with U.S. and state law under RCW 26.28.080, it is a crime to disseminate this content or access this content if you are under the age of 16. Even on YouTube, I do not allow sharing or clipping of my streams. And I have seen it, quite a few times where people have accessed it, and clipped it, by doing screen capture. It's against the law. This is my content. Go get your own. All right. First question of 20 is now on your screen. Michael Swago allegedly killed as many as 60 plus patients while working where? Was he working at A, a veterans hospital, B, an orthopedic hospital, C, a mental hospital, or D, a hospital for the condemned? And a hospital for the condemned would be a hospital for those who are condemned or to die by the hands of either the federal government or the state. That is what a hospital for the condemned is. They used to be called, infirmaries in the prison system, but now they call them hospitals, actual just hospital. But they do have wings of those who are just going to be put to death. Let's make them healthy enough so we can execute them. That's a real thing in America. You don't see Pigeon Mac? Kitty Q, I see him. I see Pigeon Mac. Pigeon Mac is obviously the name backwards. Yeah, all the letters. Pigeon Mac. Mickey D's. Oh boy, I'd never heard of this guy, unfortunately. So I'm just going to guess and say B, says Savannah. Michael Swago. What Michael Swago was a licensed practicing nurse, an LPN, before he became a doctor. In his time while he was an actual nurse, he killed quite a few patients on purpose. Then he became a doctor. And he continued to, the same thing. Oh, I just noticed that I'm not in my little window. Hello, Will in his little window. Anna Marie and Purple, good evening to you both. I hope you're having a great weekend. Thank you for joining us tonight. Better late than never. You're here on question number 1, which is on your screen. Dr. Michael Swaggo allegedly killed as many as 60 plus patients while working where? Smoke them if you got them, ladies and gentlemen. Smoke them if you got them. Smoke whatever you want. You do you. Question number 1. The correct answer for question number 1 is A as in apple. He targeted and killed veterans of foreign wars. Veterans. He killed 60 plus of them, plus patients. They never will know the true number of patients that he killed, because initially they just thought it was a coincidence that all these patients were dying on his shift, and they didn't start putting 2 and 2 together until much later on. And they're like, okay, we have an issue here on this shift where this guy is working, or he's had these patients. A lot of his patients died, and a lot of them weren't necessarily ill to the point where they would have had something that would have taken their life. Sorry about that. Michael Swaggo. Question number 2. Dr. Donald Klein, a fertility doctor by trade, may have fathered up to 90 plus children. However, he also caused the death of how many patients? This would be the mothers. He's a fertility doctor. Was it A, 94, B, 84, C, 24, or D, 4? Dr. Donald Klein, a fertility doctor by trade, may have fathered as many as 90 plus children. How many patients did he kill? Excuse me. Reminds you of Dahmer. Well, Pigeon Mac has read about Dr. Klein. Instead of using the samples that were, in some of these in vitro fertilization cases, like where the husband and the wife came in for, to see Dr. Klein, he used his own sample to impregnate 90 plus women in his career. That's just pretty sick. Just think about that. And he did it with a Yugo. It says Pigeon Mac. It's funny. He did it in a Yugo, or he did it with a Yugo. The husband is in his boot 2.5 years now. He drove down the middle of the parade with the Yugo and killed 144,000. How long was he around, Pipatot? I don't know how many years his total career was, but I know that the vast majority of the women that he used his own sample on to impregnate happened in the last 24 years of his professional career. In the last 24 years, a vast majority of the patients, doesn't matter what their race or ethnicity was at all, he used his own sample to impregnate them. That was in the last 24 years of his professional career. All right, the correct answer for how many patients did he kill and cause the deaths of, the correct answer is D as in dog, 4. All 4 of the women who came to him and they complained about Dr. Klein and his, look, this child doesn't look anything like my husband. What's going on here? And as they, they started to push the envelope, and it's like, look, these things happen, blah, blah, blah. He made excuses. And if they pushed it any farther, he just injected them with something, during an exam and killed them. But he was never tried for the murders of them. They were all, I can't remember how they actually worded it, but it was like, it bordered on malpractice, but it was also homicide because these people were pains in his ass. I mean, but he was never convicted of them, of the murders themselves. Question number 3. The good doctor Harold Shipman may have killed over 250 patients. So how many people attended his actual funeral when Dr. Shipman died? How many people attended? Was it A, 109, B, 312, C, 210, or D, 2? The good doctor Harold Shipman may have killed over 250 patients. So how many people attended his funeral? You know nothing about the last doctor, Dr. Klein, or Harold Shipman? Kitty Coos, D, please, D. Kitchen Mac going with D, question mark. Cement Shoes, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Interpeas, 0, zilch, nada. And this was a private ceremony. It was not open to the public. All of the people who attended Dr. Shipman's private ceremonial and wake, like, the entire thing, were all invited. They were invited by the family. But how many people actually attended? Him and Chad Daybell, the gravedigger, right? What a wicked one Shipman is. Yeah, he was definitely a wicked, twisted individual. Question number 3 of 20. Purple is going with D. Savannah's going with D as well. Question number 3. The correct answer is D as in dog. D as in dog. Only 2 people attended his actual service. They sent out over 40 invitations to the actual service, but only 2 people showed up. That is not counting the, I wanted, what do you call someone who's like a preacher, I guess? Because he was not, it wasn't a Catholic service. It wasn't, a Mormon service. So, or whatever, but it was, they had a religious leader there who was of the Christian faith, but who, did the actual ceremony itself. But only 2 people showed up for the funeral services for Dr. Shipman. Did you know medical malpractice is the 3rd largest cause of death in America since 1974? 96.5% of all deaths caused by malpractice are never prosecuted as homicides or murder. According to the American Medical Association and Rosenbaum.com, that is the largest legal law firm that takes on medical malpractice lawsuits, Rosenbaum. If you will see their name again in the "Did you know?" But everything is confirmed by the American Medical Association on top of that. But 96.5% of all medical malpractice suits that cause death of an individual are never prosecuted as murder. So you wonder how people like the good Dr. Shipman, and Dr. Swago, and these others that we're going to learn about tonight. How do they get away with it? They just pay it off and they sweep it underneath the rug. But a lot of them get away with it, initially because they're like, uh-oh, the good doctor's a little bit of an oopsie there, caused another death, sweep it under the rug. The malpractice insurance pays it off. And they just keep on going. All right, question number 4. November 10th, 1910, this doctor said the last words before being hanged for murder of his wife, Elmore. Who is he? Is it Dr. Shipman, B, Dr. Feelgood, C, Dr. Mudd, or D, Dr. Crippen? November 10th, 1910, this doctor said his last words before being hung for the murder of his wife, Elmore. Who was he? And there are, I think, 3 or 4 different questions tonight that do not have a picture on them. I had to delete them because the license that I had to use them with Getty Images has expired. Because we were supposed to do this trivia night a week ago. Well, 2 weeks ago now, when I had but I was sick. And because we skipped that night, the license, since ran out. I think it ran out like the 12th of this month. So I had to delete those images. There are other ones that have been added to it, but those ones are not available in the package that I had originally purchased. So that's why there is no picture on this question and a couple of other ones tonight. We got a lot of D's. Dr. Crippen. Savannah's going with D as well. Juicy Jules, my peeps. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia, my peeps. I hope you're doing well. And Gianna Marie is here with us. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you are doing well. Thank you for joining us. And for everybody, and Heather, good evening, Heather. Welcome to tonight's trivia. Sorry if I missed anybody else. And Inner Peas is going with E, Dr. Demento. I missed Dr. Demento. I used to listen to that when I was a teenager. The Dr. Demento show on radio. Dr. Demento. Gary Gnu with Gnu's, who was like a spinoff from another one. That there was a guy who used to do a radio show that was called Gary Gnu. It was a spinoff of a children's cartoon, like I think it was like on Electric Avenue or something like that, or one of those PBS programs. But the guy actually took that character and had a radio call-in show. But it used to be like 3 or 4 different ones. It was there was a weekly top 40 with Casey Kasem, Dr. Demento, Gary Gnu, and then the nighttime program where I lived when I was growing up was Wolfman Jack. That was the nighttime program. I listened to Dr. Demento every week. And curiously, that's where Dr. Demento show, that is where Weird Al Yankovic got his start, was on the Dr. Demento show. All right. The correct answer to question 4 is D as in dog. Dr. Crippen. Dr. Crippen was executed on November 10th, 1910 for killing his wife, Elmore. How many patients did Dr. Crippen actually kill? They do not have a firm number on how many patients, but they do believe that the total number is well excess of 30. Dr. Hook. I only knew Casey Kasem and Wolfman Jack. Wolfman Jack, yeah. And we're going back well over 40 plus years. All right, question number 5 of 20. Convicted of killing 15 patients, admitting to killing almost 3 times that, this good doctor took himself out. Who is he? Is it A, Dr. Cliff, B, Dr. Crippen, C, Dr. Shipman, or D, Dr. Chapman? Question number 5 of 20. Convicted of killing 15 patients and admitted to killing almost 3 times as many. This good doctor took himself out. Who is he? And I wanted to put a picture of him on there. It's in the free domain, but I could not find a photo that showed him like facing the camera. All the pictures that I could find online are the ones of it, like a side profile of him, like walking in and out of like, courtrooms or the police department. Nothing like directly of this individual straight on, at least not that I could find on the internet. There have been quite a few books that have been written about this doctor as well. Ooh, Picture Mac is going with Dr. Pepper. Picture Mac's going with C? Question mark. Heather's going with C, and so is my peeps. Question number 5 of 20. Kitty Q's going with C as well. Dot, I'm confused. Oh, I'm sorry. What are you confused about, Dot? Question number 5. The correct answer is C, as in cat. Purple, just in time. Dr. Shipman was convicted of killing 15 patients, but he confessed to killing almost 3 times as many. In the Bay Area, we had Dr. Donald D. Rose, a disc jockey. Oh, well, that's cool. I haven't been to the Bay Area. I love it there, but I haven't been there since I was in college. That's been quite a few years ago. Quite a few years. All right. Question number 6. This man wasn't even a doctor. Well, legally a doctor in the United States. He had a practice in Africa, but never took the board test in the U.S. He killed 10 patients across the U.S. Who is he? Is it A, Dr. Farnsworth, B, Dr. Relental? I don't know how you pronounce that one. Or C, Dr. Sanders, or D, Dr. Limberta? Wow, learned something more about Dr. Shipman tonight. Norman Osborn is the Green Goblin. Really? Did not know that. This man wasn't even a doctor well, not that was me. Sorry. Didn't mean to blow your guys' eardrums out there. But this man wasn't even a doctor in the United States legally. He had a practice to medicine in Africa, But when he immigrated to the United States, he never sat for the board. The 10 patients that he killed in California, New Mexico, Texas, Alabama, and those are the states that he actually killed patients in because of, well, either he gave them a sedative that had an interaction with another medication that they were on, and he should have known better. But he killed 10 patients because of his sloppiness, and he was convicted of killing all 10 patients. Who is it? Can I share your channel to Facebook? You most certainly can, my peeps. All right, question number 6. The correct answer is Dr. Lamberta. Dr. Lamberta was a neurosurgeon, and he specialized not only in neurosurgery, but he specialized in doing what they called separation of the hemispheres of the brain for people who had severe issues with seizures, epileptic seizures. And he came here from South Africa to the United States, and he started practicing, and doing surgeries, and he never sat for the board. He could have been a neurosurgeon here underneath, practicing with someone else who could have had to be there to watch him. But these are rules that have now been put in place because of people like Dr. Lamberta. And he gave, medication, the wrong medications in a couple of cases. They almost killed people, but in other ones, he killed them. And he was convicted of it, but he was extradited back to Africa, to where he was from. But he did serve time in America before being extradited back to Africa to serve out the rest of his sentence. Don't know if he's alive or not. I did not write that down, if he's alive or not. Question first is, did you know Harold Shipman had a love for others in the healthcare industry? He almost exclusively dated nurses and other doctors. Most of them worked in nursing homes. Dr. Harold Shipman had a love for others in the healthcare industry. I guess that's pretty common when you think about it. That you start off with somebody who is already, familiar with the industry that you're in. So, you have something to talk about. Excuse me. But most of the people he dated were in the, nursing home business. They didn't work in hospitals. They worked in nursing care in nursing homes. Excuse me. All right. Next question. This doctor was hung as part of the conspiracy and planning in the finalization to kill President Abraham Lincoln. Who is he? Is it A, Dr. Feelgood, B, Dr. Shipman, C, Dr. Mudd, not from Primus, or D, Dr. Clinton? This doctor was hung as part of the conspiracy planning and finalization to kill President Abraham Lincoln. Who is he? Sneak into a nursing home. Most people asleep. My name is Mudd. I whacked him on the head with an aluminum baseball bat. My name is Mudd. Barking Pumpkin, good evening. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a wonderful week. Welcome, Lemon Pie. Good evening and welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you had a great week. Glad you could be here with us tonight. This doctor was hung as part of the conspiracy and planning and finalization to kill President Abraham Lincoln. It doesn't mean he took part in all of it, but that was what the those who were executed were all found guilty of having part of either the conspiracy, the planning, finalization to kill the president Abraham Lincoln, but they were found guilty of it, even if they only took part in one aspect of that. Juicy Jules is going with D. This doctor was hung. They hung him up. Back then, it was a public executions were the rave. People would make a day of it. They'd pack themselves a picnic lunch and they would go to the town square or to the gallows that had been erected outside of the prison, and they would watch an execution. Bring their kids, their family, and watch an execution. No joke. Public executions. I think if we went back to public execution, as barbaric as it is, maybe that would have more of an influence on people not to do certain crimes. We had public executions. Well, that's just me. This one has you stumped, says Pippadot. You're guessing C. Well, that's a good guess, Pippadot, because the correct answer is C, as in cat. Dr. Mudd was executed as being part of the conspiracy and finalization to kill President Abraham Lincoln. Even though, from all historical standpoint, Dr. Mudd was only there in the after effect to help, set the leg after he had jumped off the stage and jumped onto the stage or jumped off the stage. I can't remember, history all that well about Abraham Lincoln's assassination, but he helped set the broken leg for him, and that acted, and like, oh, you knew what he had done and that he was a wanted man, so they executed Dr. Mudd. And that is the lead singer of the picture of the band Primus. All right, question number 8. Convicted of murdering his wife, this doctor served 10 years in prison and was exonerated. Who is he? Is it A, Dr. Alan Polk, B, Dr. Sam Shepard, C, Dr. Simple, or D, Dr. Chippard? Chippard? Who is he? Convicted of murdering his wife, this doctor served 10 years in prison and was exonerated. Who is he? Jumped off the balcony. I think it was Lisa. I think you're right. He broke his leg. There were a lot more people that were involved in the assassination of Abraham Lincoln than people want to they want to believe it was just one guy, one crazy actor. We got a little bit of everything. We have A, we have B, we have D. Nobody, is anybody guessing C? Lemon Pie is going with Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz. Heather going with B. Dr. Barry Morphew. Mountain Lion. Poke sounds familiar. Convicted of murdering his wife, this doctor served 10 years in prison and was eventually exonerated. Not found not guilty, he was exonerated. They had the wrong man. He did not kill his wife. And from that day, he always, pertained, said he was innocent, and stuck to his guns. And then after he was exonerated, he went out and he made damn sure, along with his family, to try to clear his name, that had any involvement in the murder of his actual wife. As far as I know, this doctor never actually killed any patients, but I threw it in here anyways because it was a very historical case, especially when you look at the evidence in the case. He was railroaded by the police and the state in the prosecution of him. But this man is none other than B as in boy, Dr. Sam Shepard was found guilty of murdering his wife and then exonerated. Not found not guilty. They later had to determine, oh, we really screwed the pooch on this one. We convicted the wrong individual altogether. And none of the evidence that was circumstantial that was brought forth in the case even pointed to Sam Shepard. It was a travesty of justice all the way around. But B as in boy, Dr. Sam Shepard, and that is a picture of him going into the courthouse, leaving the car, police squad car. All right, question number 9 is another one that does not have a picture. This doctor escaped capture 3 times, 1850, 1869, and 1879. Finally caught after killing 2 more streetwalkers, prostitutes, and then he was hanged. Who is he? Was it A, Neil deGrasse Tyson, B, Neil Cream, C, Neil Young, or D, Neil Rumshaker? This doctor escaped capture 3 times in 1850, 1869, 1879, finally caught after killing 2 more prostitutes and then hanged. Who is he? Excuse me. Good evening, Cheryl. Welcome to tonight's trivia. I hope you've been doing well. Thank you for joining us tonight. Kitty is going with Seal. Ooh, Inner Peace, Neil Patrick Harris. Lemon Pie, Neil Diamond. Sweet Caroline. Dum, dum, dum. Pippa Dot going with B. My peeps going with A. Did you make A? LOL. Good evening from Ireland. N, is that an I? N187? Well, good evening. And welcome to tonight's trivia. All the way from Ireland, where most of my ancestors come from, Northern Ireland. I clean house and I'm going back to the true crime. There you go. Inner Peace, a ring. This doctor escaped capture 3 times, 1850, 1869, 1879, finally caught after killing 2 more prostitutes and then hanged. Who is this? Question number 9. The correct answer is C. Sorry. Boop, boop. Back up. The correct answer is B. Neil Cream. Dr. Neil Cream killed what they assume is 12 women of the night, if you want, if that's a better way to put it, or streetwalker, or whatever the politically correct term is for prostitute. Something to talk about. Welcome. Yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I was going to read that, but it went by. Hold on. NI, as in Northern Ireland specifically. Ah, there you go. All right. Question number 10. He killed his family at Fort Bragg, South Carolina. Said hippies killed them. Who is this killer? Doctor? Was it A. Jeffrey McDonald, B. Jeffrey Dahmer, C. Jeffrey Epstein, or D. Jeffrey Gates? He killed his family at Fort Bragg, South Carolina, and said hippies killed them. Who is this killer doctor? Question number 10 of 20. You need some ice cream? Question number 10 of 20. Trying to look at your profile picture. NI87. They're so tiny on my screen here. I mean, this is a 75-inch monitor, but even then, the little profile pictures are small. Jeffrey Graff. I remember this from the 48 Hours Dateline episode. Ah, you saw that one too, Callie Lisa. Yeah, if you ever want to know where never to go on vacation, never go wherever they filmed an episode of the first 48. Oh, Purple just had ice cream. Yummy, yummy. Question number 10. The correct answer is A, as in apple. Dr. Jeffrey McDonald. He said that hippies had come into the barge into the home and it tied them all up and beat and killed his entire family, and it didn't work. They knew that there wasn't a bunch of hippies that had come in and killed his family, that he did it. Dr. Jeffrey McDonald was the killer. All right, that is the first 10 questions. As we always do every single Sunday for trivia night, after we do the first 10 questions, we take a 6-minute break. Do what you need to do for the next 6 minutes. Get yourself something to drink, use the facilities, smoke a bowl, drink a beer, whatever you need to do for the next 6 minutes. And we'll be back right after the 6-minute break for the next 10 questions, plus the missing and endangered individual from across the United States. I don't know, Juicy Jules, how many years did Dr. McDonald do? I think he received something like 3 life sentences, plus a bunch, convicted of other charges, like abusing a corpse, destruction of evidence. But I believe he got the life sentence alone was more than enough. Find out really quickly though. Dr. Jeffrey R. McDonald, born October 12, 1943. He was convicted in August of 1979. He killed his wife, his children, Christina, Kimberly, The motive for killing him was never determined. Possible rage compound to mimic manic inspired massacre is what's listed as his actual um, possible motive. The victims were his wife Colette, Catherine Stevenson McDonald, Kimberly Catherine McDonald, age 5, Christina Jean McDonald, age 2, and unborn child. Location was at Fort Bragg Military Base in North Carolina. He is imprisoned at FCI Cumberland, Maryland. I guess he's still alive. He's still in prison. He is 80 years of age right now. He was born in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Is anybody here in the chat follow the Alderson trial? I think Donna's trial starts on Tuesday. I've been following it a little bit, Callie Lisa, but not intensely close. And I have not followed any of the actual court proceedings. Just read about the case itself. Guy, he's in jail now at Cumberland, Maryland. Yes, he is 80 years of age. He made a fuss to try to get out. Yeah. He's still saying he's innocent. Yeah, I don't know about that. Sociopath. I think you would be close to either a sociopath or a psychopath, Judy Jules. If not, he definitely has sociopathic tendencies. But again, it says on the murderabilia page that the motive for the reason for him murdering his family was never really determined. That it was more of a manic, episode. You're sure that Donald Trump will pardon him? Well, if Donald Trump was going to pardon him in I-87, I would think that he would have done it before the last time when he was in office, because he's been there since 1979. The MPs kind of messed up in his case too, but the evidence was there. Yeah, apparently somebody was going to try to kill Donald Trump again today. I just saw that it came across a news flash about a shooting at Mar-a-Lago at his golf resort. I don't know if the former president was there or not. I just saw it come across on the ticker. I have a ticker that I for the stock exchange, and every once in a while, after it runs through the entire thing of the U.S. stock exchange commodities market, and then it does like little news bleeps. So I saw it on there. Everyone in prison is innocent according to the inmates, right? Louise, good evening and welcome all the way from Michigan. How are you doing, Louise? I hope that you're doing well. Thank you for joining us tonight for trivia. We just did the first 10 questions. We still have 10 more questions, plus our missing and endangered individual for tonight. Glad you could be here with us, Louise. All right. We got another minute and 10 seconds left of our break, and then we're back. 1 minute, 10 seconds. Well, 1 minute, 4 seconds now. Made me think about Shawshank, like Shawshank Redemption. The movie. That was a good movie. Even better book, but good movie. Or The Green Mile. That was another good one. Another prison, related movie. All right. The bad part is there's a small fraction of people in prison that are innocent, and that's the sad part. That is true. It is true, but we at least we have some type of fail-safe system. As good as it is, they aren't bad. We have the Innocence Project, and we have like the Southern Poverty Law Center. It is trying to help free people from prison that have been wrongfully convicted. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Question number 11 is now on your screen. He beat murder convictions, lost his license, then got his license back. Confessed to ending the lives of up to 160 patients. Who is he? Is it A, Dr. John Boykin, B, Dr. Samuel Smith, C, Dr. John Smith, or D, Dr. Liberty Mountain Lion? He beat murder convictions, lost his license to practice medicine, then he got it back. But in the end, he confessed to killing up to 160 patients. Who is the man that is pictured on your screen with this question? One of your favorite movies is Shawshank Redemption. There's a lot of really good actors in that movie. Tim Robbins is phenomenal. DNA has helped many. Yes, it has. Yeah, and there's the same time. There's that guy, what, Illinois or Ohio? I can't remember what state it is. They've already thrown out the conviction, but the governor from the state refuses to allow him to leave prison. He's still there. They know he's innocent. It's like, let him go. But the governor refused to allow him to leave. In a lot of cases, in several states, though, I shouldn't say a lot of cases, but several states, if you have evidence that somebody else committed the crime, and you go to court and they find you innocent, that you didn't do the crime, you don't get out that day and have some great moment in front of the press out in front of the courthouse. They send your ass back to prison, and then you have to wait for the entire process to work its way out, so then they release you. That's sad. Can you imagine having to go back to prison after you've been, that you had another trial and they proved that you didn't do the crime, and they send you back to prison even then, and say it's going to take them, a while to process all the paperwork to get you out? It's like, just let me go. He beat murder convictions and lost his license. Then he got it back. Confessed to ending the lives of up to 160 patients. Who is he? Question number 11. This is none other than Dr. John Boykin. A as in apple. Dr. John Boykin. He lost his license for medical malpractice. And they said, you should never, have a license to practice medicine ever again. He beat his murder conviction for the medical malpractice and for killing his patients. He beat that murder charge. Then he got his license back after he beat the murder conviction, the case. And he went back to practicing medicine and back to killing his patients. Dr. John Boykin. Question, did you know? From 1900 to the year 2000, there were thousands of people per year who practiced medicine, never attended medical school. 80% of them are embedded in immigrant communities. And no, this is not just people who are embedded in the Latino or the communities. These are in all communities, and there is a large number of these individuals who have never attended a day of medical school in their lives that are embedded in the communities, especially in the Midwest, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and that part of the United States and down into Iowa, Illinois, and so forth, who are embedded, and they've never gone to medical school, but they don't call them witch doctors or faith healers or whatever. They may use a vast majority of different things to try to treat patients, but they call themselves and they consider themselves doctors. But 80% of them are embedded in these migrant communities here in America, and they've never been to medical school, but people still pay them and believe that they are doctors. And it's unfortunately, they then spread misinformation and lies within these communities, and it's sad because people actually end up dying, or they get seriously injured because of the misinformation or mistreatment for different medical services. Again, this comes from the American Medical Association, the AMA, and the Rosenbaum.com, the law firm. 80%. Just think about that. And that the last time that they did the actual poll was back in 2000. Where is it at now in 2024? Probably even the same amount of them in the embedded in immigrant communities. All right, next question. This killer doctor got a very unique nickname given to her by one very persistent reporter. What is her nickname? Was it A, Queen of Death, B, Dr. Morbid, C, Ophelia of Death, or D, Dr. Hazard? This killer doctor got a very unique nickname given to her by one very persistent reporter. What is her nickname? Catch me if you can. A doctor was one. I was reading that. Come back here. A doctor was one of his frauds. Oh yeah, along with pilot for Pan Am. He was a Pan Am pilot. He was a Secret Service agent. I guess the real guy, he actually he was like paid to be like a consultant on that movie with Tom Hanks. Catch Me If You Can. There are a lot of people who don't believe that all the stuff that he did, said he did in his background, that he was convicted of. But I guess in the end, he did really work with the FBI in the fraud department. Based on a true story. Yeah. So that, but how much of it was really, a true story? You have to make the movie interesting for get people to want to watch it, to get a good review, to, fill the seats in the theater to make money. Did they fudge some of the facts in it? Yeah, it's not a documentary. But yeah, some of the things that he said that he did in the past, though, in interviews, people would kind of, that really never happened. He couldn't have done that. That's not how the system worked. Apparently, he knew the system a lot better than a lot of other people. Good evening, Karen, and welcome to tonight's trivia. All right. This killer doctor got a very unique nickname given to her by one very persistent reporter. What was her name? Question number 12. The correct answer is C as in cat. Ophelia of Death. Ophelia of Death. Her actual last name is Hazard. But this lady actually fell into a gray area, I guess technically, here in Washington State. She was a doctor and a nurse who did end the lives of quite a few patients, some of them deliberately at their request. But she came up with this is her theory that, when your grandmother, when you were sick when you were a kid, you starve a cold, feed a fever. She had this theory along that lines where she basically told these miners that were coming out west looking for gold, and knew people who were moving to the west coast of the United States. She gave them some pretty messed up, now looking back on hindsight, medical advice that actually killed quite a few people. But did she know that she was going to be killing them? Yes. Some of them, again, were at their actual request. So she was kind of like a little bit of, Jack Kevorkian in her, assisted suicide. But she also took the lives of patients by, her madness and her bad medical advice. But she was never really technically a doctor, but she was a doctor because she fell into a gray area where you didn't really necessarily have to have a medical license at that time. And if you were in the field practicing long enough, they just said, okay, well, when they started passing laws and saying you have to have gone to medical school to become a doctor, she said, well, look, I've been in the medical field for 30 years as a nurse. Well, I guess that technically does know, if you know enough of the information, you are a doctor. But they don't do that anymore, obviously, for good reasons. All right. Question number 13. Although not a licensed doctor, like I said, because of a loophole, she called herself a doctor and killed dozens. Who is she? If you're listening to what my little rant I just gave you, explanation in the last one, you should probably be able to pick this one up pretty easy. Was it A, Linda Cross, B, Linda Moore, C, Linda Burfield Hazard, or D, Linda Daybell? Although not a licensed doctor because of a loophole, like I just explained, she called herself a doctor and killed dozens. Who is she? Well, Kitty Q gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, Kitty Q. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for doing that, Kitty Q. That was really nice of you to do that, to gift 10 memberships. Excuse me. Karen's going with C. Savannah, B, question mark. Catalisa, B. Gianna Marie, B. Damn. I just can't shake this stupid cough. Get some more ice for my drink, for my water. Tonight's stream is brought to you by H2O. It does a body good. Pippa Dot is going with C. Linda Ronstadt. She does kind of look, if you look at it, the hair and the face a little, she does look a little bit like she might be related to her Linda Ronstadt. That's funny in her piece. Be right back. I get some ice. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? Alrighty. Question number 13. The correct answer is C, as in cat. Linda Burfield Hazard. Her nickname was, from question number 12, is Ophelia of Death. This is a nickname given to her by a very persistent reporter. He called her the Ophelia of Death, but her name is Linda Burfield Hazard. All right, question number 14. This killer doctor took more lives than we will ever know. He is famous for the largest malpractice suit ever. There will never be another one this large again, ladies and gentlemen. Who is he? Is it A, Dr. Robert Keel, B, Dr. William Hustle, C, Dr. James Wright, or D, Dr. Clapper? This doctor took more lives than we'll ever know. A vast majority of all of the patients that this doctor killed were cremated within a 1-week period after their deaths. And then I'll tell you more about that, why that would happen. Hazard sounds appropriate, yeah. But there will never be a medical malpractice suit like this, what happened in this case, this situation, ever again. Dr. Phil, who's not a real doctor, by the way, he was a doctor. He no longer has a license. He voluntarily resigned his license and never bothered to renew it. Dr. Phil, I'm not a doctor. He could say, I'm a former doctor, but he can never say legally that he is a doctor. Not anymore. He had too many complaints against him by his patients in his private practice. And then he refused to renew his license to practice psychotherapy and psychology, and then became not a doctor anymore. He could go back and appeal to the board of licensing, and deal with each and every one of the complaints himself again, and then apply for his license back if he wanted it. But apparently he's rich enough, so he doesn't want it. Question number 14. Let's just say that whichever doctor this is, before his conviction for murdering his patients, that over 220 people settled out of court for medical malpractice before he was ever even convicted of the first charge of murdering his patients. It became such a serious nightmare for the underwriters and for the insurance companies who had his medical malpractice. It damn near bankrupted 2 complete insurance companies because they had to pay out such a large amount, because everybody just turned a blind eye to what this guy was doing. They're like, oh, we'll deal with this later. We'll write him up. We'll deal with this internally. They just kind of kept on sweeping it underneath the rug. But eventually it all came to a head. And this doctor is none other than B as in boy, Dr. William Hustle. The world's largest amount of medical malpractice suits. In the end, so there was a 220 before his conviction. At the end of it all, it ended up being around 315 medical malpractice suits in all. We will never see anybody get to anywhere near that ever again, because now, if they have put a lot of things in place to make sure that you get anything more than 4 or 5, one company will just cancel your medical malpractice suit, insurance, boom, and then you get blacklisted across the entire industry, and they won't pick you up. Then you have to go to high risk, malpractice insurance. And if you get screw that up, with another, couple of cases, you may lose your license to practice medicine altogether. Where in this guy's case, William Hustle's case, it just kept on getting swept underneath the rug, and people just like, no, we'll deal with it later. And before they knew it, it was, you know, again, it's very hard to bankrupt an insurance company. As insurance, you know, as a whole, a lot of people think it's a scam, but a lot of other doctors who pay into, they have to pay an extra that covers for people who don't have medical malpractice insurance or enough coverage. If they screw things up, they all had to, all that burden got passed on to them and to others down the road. But William Hustle, that is him right there on the screen. Question number, oh, did you know over 20,000 medical malpractice suits are filed on average per year in the U.S.? On average, 7,000 of those 20,000 cause death, 2,000 cause lifelong injuries with extreme pain, according to the American Medical Association and Rosenbaum.com. 20,000 medical malpractice suits are filed per year in the U.S., with 7,000 of those 20,000 causing death, 2,000 causing lifelong injuries with extreme pain. You think that they would find some way to, you know, to lower that, but there are still stories that are popping up in the news about the person goes in. And well, not too long ago, there was a case, I can't remember where, but here in the United States, where they were supposed to go in and remove the liver or pancreas from an individual, and the doctor removed the wrong organ altogether. Or the guy who goes in for, you know, to have his leg amputated because you know he has side effects from diabetes, and they removed the wrong leg. It happens. It's like, how do you even do that? They're operated on the wrong organ altogether, a wrong body part, a wrong person. All right. Next question. Question number 15. Unlike any other serial killer doctor, this doctor kept all his victims with him. He had tea parties with them. Who is he? Is it A, Dr. Harold Shipman, B, Dan Perogi, I don't know how you pronounce that, or D, Marcella Pitt, whatever, or D, A, B, C, or D. I'm not even going to try anymore. Which this doctor, unlike any other doctor, killed his patients and then had tea parties with them. Question number 15. Oh my God, Will. They are supposed to mark everything. Every time I've ever gone in to have knee surgery or surgery on my arm or any other part of my body, you know, the surgeon comes in and with like a Sharpie marker and writes, you know, on you know, like an X on the one that is not supposed leg or arm that's not supposed to be operated on, and then writes operate on this one, you know, the one they're supposed to work on. But it's like a lot of industries, they've determined, you know what, they can get through 10 to 15 patients in a day when they used to do just 2 or 3, maybe 5 in a day. It's you know, it's the more in, the more money. The more in, the more money. So the mistakes apparently happen. Kitty is going with D, no clue. Lemon Pie is going with C, Savannah D. Heather is going with A. Unlike any other serial killer doctor, this killer doctor kept all his victims with him and had tea parties with them. Who is he? The correct answer is C as in cat. Marcella Piot, or whatever, Piot, however you pronounce that. It's Petiot. However you pronounce that, I don't know. Petiot? I don't know. I tried. Question number 16. He had compassion for his patients, but he only kept records of them suffering. He killed all his wives. Who is he? Is this A, Clyde Carrington, B, Robert Carrington, C, Sir Chad Daybell, or D, Robert Clement? Robert Clement? Clement? I had to have a stent put in. They said through my leg artery, I got a scar under my left armpit from the procedure. My wife had a stent put in too, Kitty Coo. She still has a scar. Well, she's got one from her Metaport, and then she's got one from the stent as well. Yeah, been quite a few years. Petty Oat. Is that how I pronounce his last name? Pippadot? Thank you. He had compassion for his patients, but he only kept records of them suffering. Who is this man that you see on your screen? Not the one in the little window. The big picture. Not the man in the little window. The big picture one. Who is he? Kitty Q is going, B? You? Question mark? Picture Mac? B? Question mark? Who is he? Obviously, he's a naval doctor in this picture. And he's a naval outfit with the naval anchors on the collar, in case you can't see that on your device. He had compassion for his patients, but he only kept records of them suffering. Who is this? Question number 16 is D as in dog. That is Robert Clements. Dr. Robert Clements. D as in dog. All right. Question. Oh, did you know? Our last, did you know? In the U.S., there are 1,299,578 doctors who have settled malpractice lawsuits that cause death or lifelong pain and injury. 91% of those doctors have had a license to practice medicine a year after causing death. This is according to Forbes magazine and the NewYorker.com. This is not from the American Medical Association. So I guess take that as much as it is, because those two news reporting agencies listed the 1,299,578 doctors who have settled malpractice suits that caused death. 91% had a license to practice medicine 1 year after causing death. Question number 17. 31 malpractice suits, 2 known deaths, possibly as many as 14 deaths. Who is this man known as Dr. D or Dr. Death? Is this A, James Franklin, B, Christopher Dunch, C, Marcus Smith, or D, Jack Kentucky Arking? 31 malpractice suits, 2 known deaths, possibly as many as 14 deaths. Who is this man known as Dr. D or Dr. Death? Question number 17 of 20. Dang, you're going to pick D? After we're done with the trivia, I'll tell you how many of these 20 I knew before putting this entire trivia night together. I was on delay, says Cement Shoes. Savannah's going with C, question mark. Pigeon Max going with B, Purple D, Cement D, Kitty Q B, question mark. Who is this man? Savannah. Dr. D, get it? Dr. Dunch. Dunch. Julie's going with B. Dr. Sad Face. Yeah, he does look like a giant sad face, doesn't he? Question number 17 of 20. The correct answer is B as in boy, Christopher Dutch. Did you do a question about Dr. Anthony Garcia yet? No. And I know cement shoes. I do not know if Dr. Anthony Garcia is in here or not. Sorry, I don't remember because again I put this trivia together 2 weeks ago. So maybe he's one of the remaining questions, but I don't remember. That's the honest truth. Sorry. Question number 18. Dr. Shipman had a serious addiction problem that plagued him for most of his career. What was it? Was it A, alcoholism, B, an opium addiction, C, Oxycontin addiction, or D, a Xanax addiction? Dr. Shipman had a serious addiction problem that plagued him for most of his career. What was it? Question number 18 of 20. In case you're wondering about when he had this addiction problem, the addiction problem started in 1970 and ran through most of his professional career. But it started in 1970. And one of the documentaries I've seen on Netflix about Dr. Shipman, the good doctor, it didn't even bother to cover, his addiction issues. It did mention it, but not very much. Kitty Coo going with A, question mark. Savannah, B, Pippa B, Juicy Jules going with D, lemon pie. Sugar addiction. He liked his sweets. My peeps go, no clue. Don't have a clue at all. Dr. Shipman, he had an addiction issue, and he liked to kill people. Or B would be interesting. Heather going with B, opium. Purple's going with B as well for question 18. Pippadot 70s, opium. How long stint last? Stint last? How long does a stint last? I don't know. I guess it would depend upon the actual patient, Jules. My wife had her stint removed, and she also had her. This is back when my wife was battling breast cancer, but she had the stint in the Metaport. The Metaport they had to remove right away because it got infected, but that damn near killed her. Not that the chemotherapy was doing a whole heck of a lot for her, to help her stay alive. Because that's the whole purpose behind chemotherapy. Kill the cancer before you kill the patient. How much poison can we put in you? But that's why she had the Metaport put in. The stent was because of the medication and everything else that was what it was doing to her heart. But she's alive and well today. Inside the house, probably playing video games right now. Addiction and murder, right? All right, question number 18. The correct answer and was almost given exactly to you there. The correct answer is B as in boy. Starting in 1970, Dr. Harold Shipman started using opium, and he continued using opium throughout his professional career while he was killing patients. But it started in the early 1970s. Addicted to Dr. Phil. Kitty Coo, yours was in 2018, and I'm still good. Well, that's good, Kitty Coo. All right, question number 19. The Mexican doctor of death from Mexico City may have claimed as many as 189 patients. He targeted which part of society? Was it A, single mothers, B, elderly women, C, elderly men, or D, drug addicts? The Mexican doctor of death from Mexico City may have claimed as many as 189 patients. You will note that there is no name here because they're not sure what his real name was. He practiced medicine in Mexico City underneath 3 different names in the capital, Mexico City, in Mexico. But he practiced underneath different names, so they're not sure which one of those names is his real name. So, but they called him the Doctor of Death. Was it single women, elderly men, or drug addicts? In case you're all wondering, killer doctors are from all over the world. Some of these doctors that you've learned about tonight are from the United States. Some are from Britain. Some are from Mexico. We've got ones that are embedded, that are not even real doctors in migrant populations. They're everywhere. Wow, Lady Doc here. Okay, my mom. Picture Mac, question mark B. Kitty Coo is going to guess B as in dog. Savannah A, Purple A, Karen is going with B. Question number 19 of 20. Heather's going with A, single moms. All right, question number 19. The correct answer is D as in dog. He went after drug addicts and people he believed were drug seekers. That is a term that mainly you hear in America, drug seekers, people who go from doctor to doctor, ER to ER, complaining of medical ailments just to get pain medications, and other things, other drugs. They call them drug seekers. But he went after drug addicts and those who he thought, this person doesn't need medication. They don't need this. They don't need that. They're just seeking drugs. So he would help them. But the concoctions and everything, he ran a compound pharmacy with his own practice. Again, they do not know who this doctor's real name is. He went underneath 3 different names. And if you don't know what a compound pharmacist is, but a compound pharmacy or pharmacist is somebody who makes the actual drugs on site. They buy the actual medication in large doses, and then they put them into pill form and everything else. So this doctor had a compound pharmacy on site with his medical practice. So he would then give them the medication in bottles or whatever. And these people would go home and take it, and they would die. But he may have killed as many as 189. All right. Question number 20. John Claude Roman not only killed his patients, he also was connected to the death of who? Was it A, his wife, B, his mother-in-law, C, his best friend, or D, his father-in-law? Jean Claude Roman. Roman. I think the D is silent, so I think it's pronounced Roman. Was not only did he kill his patients, he was also connected to the death of who? Polly Shore. uh, he's connected to the death of Polly Shore. The Weasel. The Weasel. Polly Shore and the Weasel. John Claude Van Damme. Isn't he still making movies? John Claude Van Damme. Pippadot, no clue. A? Kitty Coo? B? Question mark, question mark. Heather's going with A. So is Karen going with A as well. Who's that? Who's the, It was John Claude Van Damme, the actor, and then there's the one who became an actual real cop in New Orleans, the sheriff's officer in New Orleans, who made like a million different B movies, like straight to DVD movies. No, Jean Claude Roman killed him. Will. Oh, ship him out. Question number 20 of 20. The correct answer is D as in dog, his father-in-law. So Jean Claude Roman, his father-in-law, died underneath suspicious circumstances, and they believe that he may have taken part in getting rid of him because he was questioning, too much about what he was doing in his medical practice. All right, the photos used tonight, with permission, are found in the free use archive. Photo of Les Claypool, the lead singer from the band Primus. The photo comes from fair use. The photo of Sam Shepard comes from Getty Images with rebroadcasting license for that from Getty Images. The photo of Michael Swago is from the Internet Archives and not from Getty Images. I have to disclose where these photos come from now, but the vast majority of them, besides the ones that I removed, are in free use except for the ones that are listed here. So how did you do tonight? Giving yourself a letter grade is completely optional. You do not have to do it. We only play trivia for fun and for entertainment purposes. But some people do like to give themselves a letter grade on how well they did on the 20 questions. All right, before putting this trivia together tonight, I knew exactly 4 of the 20. 4. I would have gotten myself a solid right smack in the middle, D as in dog, letter grade. I did not know most of these doctors who killed them, nor did I know most of the did you know facts that came from the American Medical Association and Rosenbaum.com. I did not know them. Is Steven Seagal who you were thinking of? Yes, Heather. Steven Seagal is either a deputy sheriff in New Orleans or he's a police officer there in the New Orleans, like Seventh Parish or something like that. Insane. That's what he's been doing, since his movie career went to crap because he got old and bloated. But he still makes movies though. They're just straight to DVDs, and none of these are or straight to streaming services if you can find them at all. But he's made it. If you can go to his IMDb page, you can pull up his list of movies that he's made since his last successful movie itself. There's an awful lot of them. Savannah says, "Yeah, I would say I got a D." Oh well. So, again, it's completely optional, Savannah. Some people like to do it. I don't normally, like to give myself a grade on these. I like it. I look at it as a learning experience. Learn something else, new tonight. Maybe it'll pique your interest to want to go look up some of these doctors and learn more about them. You love his movies? I never keep track, but I had a lot of good guesses tonight. There you go. Not all of them, but more than I thought I would. There you go. All right. You can help solve a cold case of someone missing or deceased. You may think you don't know much and you didn't see much. That tiny little piece that you may know could maybe the one piece that helps solve a case, cold or close a case for a family. Wouldn't you want someone to do the same for you if you were in that situation? All right, so I'm working with all four of these different organizations to help bring awareness to these missing cases. The Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NAMUS, the Charlie Project, along with the FBI, and just trying to publicize and get these this information out there to people. I am not paid to do this, nor is this a paid sponsorship to promote any of these businesses over the other. The FBI doesn't pay anybody unless you have a tip and and it leads to an arrest or something like that. You may know, but you can leave an anonymous tip at the FBI or NAMUS or the Charlie Project or Missing Kids, which is the Missing and Exploited Children. But again, you should expect nothing more from me other than that I verify all this information to the utmost, to make sure it's correct. So our missing case tonight is that of Todd Michael Kane. He goes by the aliases of Michael Kane and Debo Kane. He is age 47 today. Not like today's his birthday, but he would be the age of 47. He stands 6'4". His weight fluctuates between 180 and 190 pounds. His hair is blonde at dirty brown to brown. His eyes are blue. He has been missing since the first of 8/01 of 23, so of over a year and a month, from last seen in Ohio. Todd suffers from depression and he is also schizophrenic. When medicated, he is considered a quiet man. Todd's last known address was in the city of Cincinnati, Ohio. However, he could be anywhere today. A homeless shelter matching his likeness and name was listed in as Debo in Columbus, Ohio. So if you know where Cincinnati is and Columbus, they're fairly close to each other in Ohio there. But there was an individual sent, and that was that person, whoever it was that matched him, could have been Todd that was there and listed as Debo. That they only listed as staying in the shelter one night and that was in Columbus, Ohio, as the name of Devo. But he met the person there matched the description of Todd and had the name that is known as an alias for Todd. Todd Kane could be anywhere. He has friends and relatives that live in several states. Likewise, he could also still be in the state of Ohio, or something tragic may have happened to him. If you know anything about what happened to Todd Kane, you can leave an anonymous tip at the number that is on the screen, 513-263-8121. If you have any information at all, no matter how small, please contact your local law enforcement, state patrol, county sheriff's department, anyone in law enforcement. Your tip could be the crucial piece that is needed to help close a case and bring a family closure. There is nothing preventing you from helping except yourself. Imagine again, if you were or your loved one was missing. Wouldn't you want someone, in the world to take action and not just stand by? I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight, being part of the trivia. That is our missing case for this week, and our missing person case, and our trivia for this week. Damn it! Sorry about the coughing. Seagal lives in Russia. I know Steven Seagal he's been to Korea, Japan. He's been everywhere over the years. I want you looking for me. If you go missing, Kitty Coop, which I really hope you don't, I would hope that everybody here would be out looking for you. And likewise for every one of you here who is here. But Todd Kane is his name. Pretty easy to pick out, a 6'4" man with blondish, to light brown hair, blue eyes, 6'4", 180 to 190 pounds. He could just be simply off his medication and not knowing, or wanting to speak with people. But again, he's been missing for a year and a little over a month now. He could be in the state of Ohio. He could be anywhere because, again, he could, believe that he just wanted to change and left the area. Hopefully, nothing tragic has happened to Todd Kane. I'm sorry for missing your live stream, Will. I'm not well today. I'm sorry, Mel. I'm truly sorry. I hope you get better soon. Bye, Pippadot. You take care, and thank you again for being here tonight to play trivia with us. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead. You got to read Mel Stiller's poem from Madeline? I did. Madeline Soto on Hidden True Crime. I have an actual printed out copy of it here on my desk. I shared it out with another closed group of individuals who are survivors of incest and rape. And I shared it with her. I asked Mel if I could do that first before I did it. They loved it. Have a good week, everyone. You as well, Lemon Pie. And we will see you again soon. So we are done with that trivia. We finally got that one done and out of the way. Again, I put this trivia together 2 weeks ago, But then I got sick. We missed that trivia night. See you all soon. You take care, Mal. We will see you again. Lauren reads it at the end of their live stream. Oh, that's cool. Interpedes. I didn't know that. Next week, we'll be back on schedule. Starting next week, the trivia night, what you see is actually on the screen is going to change a little. It's not going to be the same. I've changed it up a little bit than how it actually looks to give it a more of a fresher, newer update. But we'll still do the same 20 questions. If you're not a subscriber, I hope you would consider subscribing. Click that bell icon so be notified when the next video comes out. And but otherwise, you can put it on your calendar. Trivia night is Sunday night at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock Mountain, 7 o'clock on the East Coast of the United States. I don't know what that would be for Ireland. I'd have to look into that. I think that's 6 hours ahead from the East Coast. So if it's 6 hours ahead, I think it is, would be Ireland. We're going towards London. I could be completely wrong about that, though. Thank you for being here and have a great week and stay safe. You stay safe as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up tonight's trivia there. I hope that everyone has a great week ahead and you are, stay safe. And if you're able to, look into some of these doctors, that we went over tonight and see if any of them interest you. They're everywhere. And I mean everywhere around the world. But I'm going to take off. Thank you again, everyone. Until next time. Bye. Hello, darkness, my old friend.